Assalamu alaikum, this is Maria Zulfikar welcoming you all to the English news from BTV Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. Agreement and 5 MOUs signed between Pakistan and Bangladesh. ICT sets October 26 for submission of investigation report in case against 11, including Sheikh Hasina over enforced disappearances and killings allegations. Hearings on redemarcation of 18 parliamentary constituencies of 6 districts in Kumilla region held. Three-day international conference on Rohingya crisis begins in Cox's Bazar. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus to join tomorrow. "63 Palestinians killed in Israeli attacks across Gaza as Israeli forces push deeper into Gaza city. And Australia beat South Africa by 276 runs in third and final ODI at Great Barrier Reef Arena in Australia. Viewers, those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. Bangladesh and Pakistan have signed a visa exemption agreement for holders of official and diplomatic passports, along with 5 memorandums of understanding. The agreement and MOUs were signed following a meeting between Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishak and Bangladesh's Foreign Affairs Advisor Tauhid Hussain at Hotel Sonargaon in Dhaka this morning. The MOUs cover the formation of a joint working group on trade, cultural exchange programs, cooperation between the two countries, foreign service academies, collaboration between state news agencies and cooperation between the Bangladesh Institute of International and Strategic Studies and Pakistan's Islamabad Policy Research Institute. Earlier, Foreign Minister Ishak and Advisor Tauhid Hussain held a one-on-one meeting. This was followed by a delegation-level meeting between Bangladesh and Pakistan. Bangladesh's National Security Advisor Khalilur Rahman, Foreign Secretary Asad Alam Siam, and senior officials from both sides were present. The two delegations discussed bilateral and regional cooperation in trade, investment, education, and cultural exchanges. The government has announced the launch of the Tista master plan with Chinese funding. Once implemented, the project will transform the northern region, bringing joy to the people living along the Tista. Analysts believe the project will help control floods, prevent river erosion, boost crop production, and also have a positive impact on Bangladesh's geopolitics. During Sheikh Hasina's 15-year authoritarian rule, millions in the north were kept below the poverty line. The main reason was her failure to sign a Tista water-sharing treaty in order to please India. However, after the 2024 mass uprising, the interim government did not ignore the suffering of Tista residents. Following the chief advisor's visit to China, work on the project has now begun. Both Bangladesh and China have already agreed to sign a financial agreement for its implementation. Experts at Buet's Institute of Water and Flood Management say the project with China's cooperation will also positively influence South Asian geopolitics. The 7th day of testimony has ended at the International Crimes Tribunal in the case against ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and two charges with crimes against humanity committed during the July-August mass uprising. The hearings were conducted at ICT-1 chaired by Justice Muhammad Ghulam Murtaza Mozumdar, with Justice Shafiul Alam Mahmood and Justice Mohitul Haq Inam Chaudhary as the other two members of the three-judge panel. The two other accused in this case are former Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal and former Inspector General of Police Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamun, who has since turned state witness. As of the latest update, the tribunal heard testimony from Dr. Rajibul Islam, a forensic expert from Rangpur Medical College, following testimony from Gyazuddin, an office assistant from the same department. With this testimony from 18 witnesses has been completed out of a total of 81 listed witnesses. In the past 6 days, the tribunal had recorded statements from 16 witnesses. During a break in the proceedings, prosecutor Mizanul Islam briefed reporters. Earlier in the morning, former IGP Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamun, who turned state witness, was presented before the tribunal. Meanwhile, ICT-1 has set October 26 for the submission of an investigation report in the case filed against Sheikh Hasina, former army officer Ziaul Ahsan and 9 others over allegations of enforced disappearances and killings in the past 16 years. In a separate development, the same tribunal granted permission to interrogate in custody 4 accused, including former IGP AKM Shahidul Haq in the case of the May 5, 2013 Hefazat-e-Islam rally massacre at Motijhil Shapla Chattor. Additionally, ICT-1 has ordered the imprisonment of former State Minister for Public Administration Farhad Hussain in connection with a case over abduction and murder in Meherpur. On Saturday morning, both former army officer Ziaul Ahsan and former State Minister Farhad Hussain were produced before the tribunal in relation to separate cases. Ahsan was produced in the enforced disappearance case and Hussain in another murder-related case. The hearing on the redemarcation of constituencies for the 13th national election began today. On the first day, hearings started on applications regarding the redemarcation of 18 parliamentary constituencies in the Kumilla region. Election Commission Senior Secretary Akhtar Ahmed said that the constituencies have been redrawn with neutrality and professionalism, besides maintaining geographical integrity. He said this at the opening of the hearing at the Election Commission building in the capital's Agargaon. As part of the preparations for the 13th national parliamentary election, these hearings on claims and objections regarding the redrawn constituencies boundaries will continue for 3 days until 27th of August. Chief Election Commissioner A.M.M. Nasiruddin, along with the other 4 election commissioners Anwarul Islam Shorkar, Abdur Rahman Al Masood, Begum Tamida Ahmed, retired Brigadier General Abul Fazal Muhammad Sanaullah, and Election Commission Senior Secretary Akhtar Ahmed were present at the hearings. An international 3-day conference on resolving the Rohingya crisis begins today in Cox's Bazar. Representatives from 40 countries are joining the conference. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus will travel to Cox's Bazar tomorrow to attend the conference. The conference is being held on 24th, 25th and 26th of August at Hotel Baywatch in Cox's Bazar's Inani. The government has planned 3 such conferences to bring the Rohingya crisis back into focus on the international stage. As part of the initiative, the first conference is being held today in Cox's Bazar. The largest one is scheduled for 30th of September at the United Nations, where 170 countries are expected to participate. Another major conference will later be held in Qatar's Doha. Meanwhile, representatives from 40 countries will be present at the Cox's Bazar's conference, along with many international and UN organizations. Rohingya people will also have the opportunity to directly engage and speak with them. Security forces have been put on alert in Cox's Bazar around the international conference, and the chief advisor's arrival. Strict security measures have been reinforced on the occasion. Advisor to the Ministry of Religious Affairs, Dr. A.F.M. Khalid Hussain, said the government is working with the utmost sincerity to ensure the proper use of Waqf properties. He made the remarks at a meeting at the Chattogram Circuit House today, where he was briefed on the overall activities of the Waqf accounts auditor. The advisor said many Waqf properties have been illegally occupied, and many of these properties have already been recovered, and efforts to reclaim others are ongoing. The advisor also expressed hope that these ongoing initiatives will lead to the more disciplined and effective management of religious institutions in the country. In response to journalists' questions about the construction of a mosque on Chandranath Hill in Sitakundu, the advisor dismissed the information circulating on social media as completely baseless and a rumor. He stated it is a malicious conspiracy to undermine the country's communal harmony. Officials from the Waqf administration, as well as representatives from various mosques, madrasas and Waqf estates, were present on the occasion. Now, international news. At least 63 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks across Gaza, medical sources tell Al Jazeera, as Israeli forces push deeper into Gaza City as part of their effort to seize the city and forcibly displace about 1 million people. Al Jazeera Arabic obtained footage on Saturday showing Israel tanks advancing into the Sabra neighborhood of Gaza City, signaling an expansion of the military's ground invasion of the area. Sabra is near the besieged Zaytun neighborhood, which has been increasingly targeted by the Israeli army over the past week. Earlier on Saturday, Israel fired artillery at tents sheltering displaced families in the Asda area northwest of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza, killing 16 people, including 6 children, medical sources said. At least 22 Palestinians were killed while seeking humanitarian aid throughout the day, including a Palestinian who was shot dead by Israeli forces near a distribution point close to the so-called Morag axis, southeast of Khan Yunis. Palestinian health authorities said on Saturday that 8 more Palestinians, including 2 children, died from malnutrition over the past 24 hours, raising the total death toll to 281 since Israel's war on Gaza began nearly 2 years ago. The United Nations on Friday officially declared a famine in Gaza, the first such designation ever announced in the Middle East, with experts warning 5 lakh people face catastrophic hunger. The UN has accused Israel of systematic obstruction of aid deliveries to the war-ravaged Palestinian territory, and Secretary General Antonio Guterres described the famine as a man-made disaster. Russia has blamed Ukrainian drone attacks for a fire at a nuclear power plant in its western Kursk region, saying several Russian power and energy facilities had been targeted overnight. These were no injuries and the fire was quickly extinguished, the plant's press service said on messaging app Telegram. It said the attack had damaged a transformer, but radiation levels were within the normal range. Firefighters were also sent to a blaze at the port of Ust Luga in Russia's Leningrad region, which holds a large fuel export terminal. The regional governor said about 10 Ukrainian drones were brought down and debris had sparked the fire. Ukraine has not commented on the Russian accusations. The United Nations International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA) has repeatedly called on both Russia and Ukraine to show maximum restraint around nuclear facilities in the war. It comes as Ukraine celebrates its Independence Day on Sunday, which marks the country's declaration of independence from the Soviet Union in 1991.